Hi, everybody. This is Stephanie
And Natalie.
with Immersive Spirit, and we're back with High Heels to Happy Feels podcast. We took a break last week because we were working on some course content. Natalie came to visit me in Montana, so we spent 4 or 5 days legitimately hunkered down and with one side rail, which we'll talk about because Spirit does intervene. So you may have noticed that we have a very robust GoFundMe out there now. That's thanks to our spirit guides because they legitimately came while we were doing a podcast. We were guesting on another podcast, and during that time, one of the host asked if she could read for us. And during that moment, Natalie legitimately had her spirit guides come in and say, "These are directions to the place you're supposed to open in my town in Montana." And we're just, after the call, she says, "You're never going to believe this." And so we talked it through, and I'm like, "I don't know where that is." And so she goes, "Okay, ask for a marker." So I asked my guides for a marker, right? And so I see that there's supposed to be a big white yard sign type thing, something white sign in the front. So we follow these directions from my house, which is the second left, first right, second left over the bridge, first right, second left, or next right, and then it's behind a tall building. And sure as hell, there is a building for sale right there, which is a beautiful space, big space right on our main street, basically on Central, and it's it's gorgeous and it's so cool and it's a corner spot and there's a big white sign for sale in the window. So we just shook our heads and went, "You got to be kidding me." Really, we couldn't, spirit guides couldn't have led us to a cheaper spot or, I mean, honestly, folks, we hadn't even considered staying in this area. Um, we've
Or,
looked at
or
lots
really
of,
storefront. Like
right,
that
or a
was high in
storefront.
the sky, like
Yeah,
when we're
5 years from
retiring.
now. Yeah, we storefront was like, "No, we've got content to build and our online presence and everything else." And this was kind of a, oh, holy hell moment. And you can't make it up. I mean, literally leaving the house, I had to ask my partner, I'm like, "Babe, I need you to move your truck. Her spirit guides have spoken and we must go."
Well, and it was even worse than that because she was doing the reading and she goes, you really need to take the leap. And like we got really positive things, which I mean, it was a fantastic reading.
Yeah.
And and so I looked at stuff during the reading. I'm like, remind me of real estate. And so after the podcast was over, I started getting directions and I'm like, real estate and direct. I said, I don't know, but we got it. Like, can we go? And she thought I was a little bit crazy. And I was like, get a marker because I wanted to make sure that, things are
It's
in
meant for
time.
both of us. Yeah. And
And
that's my
so
mark.
sure enough, we take off in her truck and lo and behold,
And to say we took off in the truck means we were not dressed for going to town, needless
oh,
to
we were
say.
in our pajamas pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a podcast, so from the neck up, you look all right, kind of like we always do, you throw on a little foundation and call it a day, but
Right.
nope, braless. I headed out driving the truck. We're like, "Okay, where are we going? Where are we going?" And we kind of drove around. At first, we'd stopped at one other spot right next door. And then we're like, "Well, this seems odd because it's upstairs. It's not a store. It's, not what we were feeling." And then we look right around the next building and there it was. And the awning that's over the sidewalk that she saw, all these different things. It was just, can't make this shit up, people. You just can't. And so we got back to the house and said, "Well, good grief, how are we going to do that? That is a $1.7 million property. We can put some things down, but dang." And so our GoFundMe was created. Not that anybody is obligated by any stretch, but we do want
Yeah,
to
no, we're not begging. We
help.
just have to have it out there for another branch for the universe to be able to connect it because
Absolutely.
I've
Because it,
never in my life gotten directions to somewhere.
right. I mean,
Like
literal.
amazing.
I mean, because it says she said it. I'm like, "Okay, second left. Well, we're going here. First right. Yep." And I mean, legit, they probably could have saved us a left in there and down on the corner, but I think we'd have missed it then, right? Because I didn't have that behind the tall building. And there is one particular thing down there that happens to be 3 stories. We don't allow anything over that in our town. And so going around, it was like, okay, so it's behind this tall building. And there it was. Uh,
And there was her white yard sign.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
You could, I
Unbelievable.
mean, I know people are going to think still that we made it up, but it doesn't matter. It was an amazing moment.
It was a chills and unbelievable. And it's like, okay, well, we're putting it out because the universe has spoken. Yeah.
Real.
Anyway, just to kind of talk about why we missed last week, because
That was
we
the longest way possible to talk about it.
we got on a serious side rail with that one. But then we were initially, and what we have been working on is our courses. We have some really cool ones coming up with our annual lunar intention setting that we've been working on. Kind of feels like forever, but really it's only been, 3 or 4 months. But we've got sub courses for that. So when people don't want to purchase maybe the whole intention setting around that, they'll be able to buy the piece that talks about using tarot or oracle cards or using scrying or um, runes or crystals or and then what's the wheel of life look like if you're using the wheel of life or celebrating with a birthday celebration and so on. So anyway, we've broken it out into all these sub courses and those will then be available for purchase separately or be able to buy it all together in one package and save a little dough. So
So, in other words, we were doing a lot of work.
we were doing a lot of work. And then we were reminded that, oh, this journal, we really should have that back out there too. Our daily journal that we use internally for ourselves. And we've had several people ask, that's a really cool journal. And where did we're like, well, we built it. It's kind of our thing. So we are going to make that available as well. So that's
Yeah,
coming.
for 2025.
Yes. So,
We're,
and December of 2024.
oh,
So, not this month, but for December 2024. So, as you go into Yule, if you're celebrating the Sabbats, you'll have that for going into 2025 as well. So, the Yule one or the December one, though, I will say might just be the monthly download. So, you can just download that and get started. And then but we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, you'll be able to buy a single month or you'll be, as you need it, or be able to buy like the entire calendar, I think was our plan, right? Was it the month or
yeah,
the
you can buy it monthly or you can buy the entire calendar.
right, right.
Because,
And then
like some people won't find it until May of next year and they don't need to buy the whole calendar. So,
exactly, exactly. You don't need to spend that much to get the whole thing.
right,
So,
exactly. That
yep,
was
but
a lot to say for a paranormal podcast.
right? But we had a lot that we missed and a lot of reasons that we're just screwing around here. We're not. We're not messing around. Anyway, you'll notice we're talking paranormal, as Natalie just mentioned, and you're going to notice that her microphone is wreaking a bit of havoc today, and we think that has something to do with our conversation.
It may very well be. I don't know. Maybe I broke my computer. Who knows? But Stephanie also had an orb when she was posting last night. Just
Y-
show up over. So I don't know. There's a lot
Yep.
of little things going on around us that
Yes.
very interesting.
For sure. Yeah, the orb last night was great. I'm just sitting talking about different ways to use scrying. Thought, I'll just put out a quick post on scrying, different tools you can use, and a little orb popped in right at the corner of my video and then shot back out. And I'm like, oh, well, that was fun. Anybody else? I mean, visible, right? But
Right.
the thing is visible because I'm staring at a camera while I'm doing it. So anyway, pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Catching
Pretty
it real
cool.
time on a video. That's good
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. So we have some fun stuff that we've been doing. Natalie and her son were at the Queen Mary, and he's really part of our team. That's why we say the Immersive Spirit team, because he does everything with us. He's a great kid. Um, young adult. Yeah. And the way they did the Queen Mary and the Biltmore Hotel in California. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the experiences there. Then we're going to talk a little bit about I did a tour with some friends here locally and my partner, and we went and just did the haunted house tour for the Conrad Mansion, and which is in Kalispell in Montana. And it was all decorated for Halloween, and there's a group of 15. So, I thought, all right, so you can't video, really. I did sneak the phone out and get a lot of pictures throughout, but I'm not seeing a lot there yet. But I thought, well, I'm just going to record the whole thing. The guides talked, honestly, the whole tour. And so I really thought there was nothing there. But as I told my partner earlier this morning, I'm like, listen to this. You're never going to believe this. There's something already in the first 20 seconds where something clearly yells stop. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. And then catch everybody up on the experience from the Lumber Baron in Denver and what that was like. And then next week on Wednesday, we all head to the Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona, and we are staying in two of the most haunted rooms for 2 nights. So it should be quite the experience. Nothing like really rattling some cages right before we go to a big birthday celebration party for my dad. So, yeah, how's that for an intro?
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. We have a lot going on, folks.
We
We've
do,
got a
we
lot.
do.
Yeah. So why don't we start talking about the Queen Mary? Because I know you have posted recently some really cool pictures, like the one that had the mirror in it and then that light where you
Mhm.
could see the face. You should talk about those.
Yeah. So before we do that though, I kind of want to start why we're doing this
Oh
because
yeah.
we have gotten in the past, we've gotten people coming to us for real estate clearings or for helping with maybe their home doesn't feel so homey to them. So we had been doing that work. And over the last year, it really has kind of dwindled. So people haven't asked us as much to help with their energy clearing or their hauntings. And that's okay. I mean, if people don't need that help, I'm so happy, but I also want to stay kind of in tune with what's going on. So a little plug here. I'm glad that Bo is coming to town, and Bo is a mentor and longtime friend from the Sage Method, and she's going to be coming to Denver to do a clearing in Cheeseman Park. So if any of you guys are in Denver, we're selling tickets on Immersive Spirit, but that's not the important part.
Right.
I'm excited because I think I need to tune up a little bit. Like I think maybe my spirit guides have stopped sending those type of things for us
Oh,
because maybe I need a little boost in it. So I'm really excited to be in Bo's energy and learn some more tips and tricks from her. So that'll be
right.
at Cheeseman on 11/11 if you guys are in town. Anyway,
Yes.
all
And
right. So
and on top of that though, just to say, because we are co-hosting that event with her, because we're going to be helping with the coaching aspect of it and then getting everybody every sharing energy to protect the space. So that's really what we'll be doing. But yes, we'll be bleeding off of that as well for sure. And if you haven't already signed up for that, we are offering, because it's my birthday month, 55% off.
yeah,
So it dropped from 111, which is the asking price pretty much everywhere, to 49.95. So just a little thing there, but that's just via our site for my birthday. Yeah.
yes. All
Yeah.
right. So anyway, so we have been seeking haunted places out. And we do that too because we want to make sure that the energy is good, that I mean places should remain haunted. People love haunted stuff. Paranormal investigators need to have a job. They need to have things to do. They need to help with the science behind what we're experiencing.
Hmm.
So we certainly don't want to take that away, but we also don't want people to be stuck in place. So we've been kind of seeking places out because previously we had really gone in with just the aspect of clearing the energy, making sure everybody is safe, making sure everybody gets along, the stories are told, like how do we live in harmony and how do we get spirit home? So now focusing on trying to bring that to our community, right?
Right.
Because I don't you can tell ghost stories all day long,
Oh, yeah.
but
And there's some good ones.
tell right,
Yeah.
there's some really good ones. And we have some that we've
Yeah.
never recorded because that's what we do. So now that we're trying to get in the vein of sharing these experiences, we've always had equipment, but now we're trying to get like things caught on camera and things caught on audio and things like
We're
we're going
actually sharing it publicly. It's not just for our
right.
information anymore. And it's always been about us, right? Like, oh, well, this is fun and we love it. We've always loved the paranormal side and doing those investigations. But yeah, now how do we get this content out so we can share it with others?
Right. And so people can kind of experience like when I say that my head is getting lighter. And then
Right.
you can actually see an equipment, like there's an EMF coming in, or there's something showing up on SLS, or it validates that, well, it doesn't validate. I don't need to be validated. I know how I feel and I know how that works. But it kind of shows you the experience and what that means when I experience that. So anyway, okay,
Yes.
on
Yes.
to all this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so we did Cripple Creek too, and that's
Oh
been posted.
yeah.
We did a
That was in
story about
June.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That was fun.
we had some great sessions down there. We did a lot of Estes, which seemed to be what really worked and resonated with the
Hmm.
spirits there. And they all seemed fairly happy. No one seemed stuck necessarily.
Right.
And so after that, my son and I did the Lumber Baron. And the Lumber Baron, I will tell you what, ran by the most fantastic couple. Like, she is totally in for making sure everybody's safe, and she works on it on a daily basis. So
Awesome.
there's nothing trapped there. And she's so fantastic. And it was very strange because we had recorded the whole night. We had some video and we have some things like the EMF traps went off and some of the little stuff that you see. But mostly all of our audio, which was okay at the time when we got home, is no longer there at all.
Right. It's gone.
Right. And I'm okay with that. Like,
Which is so crazy because it's just kind of like, you know that they're cleansing the space. You felt it as soon as you were there. You're like, oh, they have a medium or something on site that's clearing because this space is so clean and feels so good.
it's
But to
so
have,
fresh. Yeah.
right, but to have the audio wiped out is like, but there's something that doesn't want to be recorded.
Right. And
You
and
know?
that's okay. And maybe it's the owner because the owner is absolutely spiritual. So it could be that that just is one of the things. I don't
Yep.
know. But it is haunted and the owners are fantastic. So if you're staying in Denver, it's a great place to stay. Not necessarily paranormal investigation. However, there's certainly things there. And that leads
Awesome.
us to the Queen Mary and the Biltmore. So my son again wanted to go, and it was his fall break. So we went out to the Queen Mary, which had been calling to me for quite some time,
Mhm.
to the point that I learned German not only for the trip that we took last year, but also, to have some experiences there. And then the Biltmore, which I haven't gotten through all the evidence for the Biltmore yet. But the 10th floor, I will tell you what, you step out of that elevator and it's like
Yeah.
it just, the feeling is so different. Okay. So anyway, Queen Mary first. So we get to the Queen Mary, took some tours. You guys have seen some of those things on social. Um, and as we're starting to go through the evidence, we're finding little quips of things. And there's four different areas that were really kind of interesting to me, that felt interesting to me anyway. One of those areas is the engine room down in the dark area. So you walk through this area, it's not lit, and the full energy just changes for like two parallels because you're walking along I don't know what to call it, like a gang, not a gangplank. It's just like a set of, I don't know, a corridor. But you're
Okay.
walking along what you can see underneath, and there's two areas that it's absolutely pitch black. You step into those areas and it's almost like a heightened awareness because it
Really?
feels so different. And my son, who doesn't practice his abilities, but is absolutely able,
Oh man. Yeah.
freaked, like freaked out. So we were sitting in that space and I did speak German and I don't know what to say about that on here, but so we could hear footsteps. You can't see anything because even on our video camera, all you see is black.
Right.
And in some pieces, you can hear the shuffling and you can hear him walking across where absolutely nobody can be, but it's so hard to pick up. So we were, sitting there and I created a door because it feels like so many people are there. So I created a door to the other side,
Yep.
because that's
Let them
what,
cross. You
yeah,
bet.
let them cross if they want to leave. And so I was talking. And my son the whole time is flipping the camera back and forth, going, Mom, they're coming from the left. Mom, they're coming from the right. Mom, they're all over the place. Like, I know, calm down. We're okay.
Yeah.
We're safe. We're safe. Um, but at the very end of it, he's like, just leave a door, Mom. And so I said, okay, I'm leaving a door. And I said, to be clear, I'm not allowing anything in, only things can leave. And we caught a really great clip that my son had said something, and at the very end of it, it said something like, uh, Stephen, go ahead and stay.
Yes. And it
And
is so intense.
I just played that for my son and he was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Right? And I'm gonna try and play it, but to to be honest, so we use a tool called Audiate, which is via Camtasia, and we love it. But it's not great for just playing on a Zoom mic like this and doing it on a podcast. So when we go to upload the content, you'll be able to hear this better. But Natalie did set the stage about what she'd said before. And this is the very short clip at the very end where they caught the Stephen, go ahead and stay. So hopefully everybody can hear this. I'm going to turn my mic. And I don't know. How's that sound coming through for you, Nat?
It's a little better than it was when we first tried it, but yeah, it's Stephen, go ahead and stay.
But
So
yeah, yeah.
it's totally creepy. And that's in this very dark area. And it's funny about the Queen Mary. So there was three other areas, and one of them was up on the bridge. So I'm just going to highlight those because then we went to the Biltmore. But up on the bridge, I was talking, I saw a man and a dog, and the man looked very disheveled. And we happened to be on a tour at the time. And so I asked the woman on who was our tour guide, I said, there's a man and a dog. And she she responded to me. She's like, I haven't heard that one before. And I was like, okay. And so I let it go, and it was totally fine. That's fine.
Whatever. You know what you feel. Yeah.
Right. I know what I feel, and I'm okay. I don't need to be validated. I'm okay.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out in time like how this dog got on board because that's not in any of the history. So I thought, okay, that's fine. So she finishes talking to the group, and there's probably 20 or 30 of us. And I'm standing outside. And so she comes back out and she goes, it's very strange that you mentioned that because this was the area that if there were dogs on ship, they weren't allowed on any of the other floors. So they would walk them up here. And I thought, that's interesting. And later on in the tour, after another room, she's like, are you a medium?
As a matter
Yeah,
of fact, thanks for asking.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I know that walking dog thing was really cool. And there was that other really good image, but in all fairness, we are not 1000% sure about it. Otherwise, we did share it initially on social. It's out there because we're curious. Because we go from taking images in, I believe you were in the engine room, boiler room,
No, it was in the isolation area.
isolation area.
Yeah.
And you go from taking these images, and all of a sudden, in one image, there's clearly a woman standing there. So it is on our list. We are going back in February. The same son has decided that that's where he wants to spend his 16th birthday. So we are going, and we are making a bigger investigation without the tours. So my partner and I will do the tour one night, like the graveyard tour, something big like that. And then everyone will be all investigating together Monday, Tuesday, and then leave Wednesday. So we're going to see if we get that same kind of imagery there without the presence of anyone else to confirm before we share that. And yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to go. I'm sorry I missed this one. So,
But no, it was so great and so entertaining. And the great thing is like the four areas that I like walked through and I knew immediately that there was spirit there
mhm.
are all accessible even without tours. Because there's some paranormal tours that um you like to get to the first class pool, you have to have
Right.
a
You have to have that tour.
like
Hmm.
you wouldn't know how to get there unless someone took you down there.
Right.
But like the nursery area, the third class nursery, you can get there, the isolation room, the bridge, and the engine room, which were all kind of heavy hitters for me.
Hmm.
It's also an area on deck between 19 and 20. That was really so it'll be great. It'll be
Yeah.
great to go. And it's
Yeah.
so weird because when Stephen and I went to the Biltmore, we almost went back to the Queen Mary that night because we started doing Estes at the Biltmore and I was having better luck with listening. He wasn't listening really well. So he was talking and I was saying some strange, like real strange stuff. and in full sentences. And I thought this can't possibly make sense. And when I came up from listening under, the speakers, he goes, Mom, we have to go back to the Queen Mary, like right now. And I said, What do you mean? And he said, they told you, and I know you remember saying this, you have to go back. Not once, you must go twice. And he goes, and it felt like it was Queen Mary related. He goes, Mom, we have to go back. And I'm like, no, no, no. I'm gonna like draw cards.
Uh,
We're gonna double check this before because
right.
we're checked in and paid for at the Biltmore. We're not just gonna dump and run. But
Exactly. It
he's
all
like, we're
costs
going
money,
back.
kid. I know it seems like it's just magically appearing, but this costs dough.
I'm like, please, God, please
Right,
don't
right,
say don't say we need to go back tonight because I
right.
really
Because I can't afford this to lose this much money.
no. So we're super excited though because it'll be great to have Stephanie there because and it's fantastic to have my son there as well because like I said, he's super talented, but
He
he doesn't
is.
practice. So he easily elevates the situation, escalates is what I should say.
Right.
Escalates the situation to where I start feeling panic and I start feeling like I have to calm him down and I lose complete tap in.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just got to leave the area because it's
Right. Yeah, I
right.
will say he doesn't get to go to Hotel Congress with us. We love, love, love him. It's so fun to do investigations. He did Cripple Creek with us last year, different hotel than the one we were staying at when we went this summer. And he's wonderful. Like, we're
Yeah.
using dowsing rods because I love the dowsing rods. And I'm standing against this wall and we're having this full-on conversation with the spirit. And he's involved actively, asking some questions and getting clarification. But when he feels it, it changes everything, which might be good for some things because that's one thing you and I were going to talk about too, is how we really have to. I mean, you hate to say it, but we kind of have to lower our vibration a little bit going into Hotel Congress because our vibrations are so high, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But sometimes we miss things because they aren't going to come to us when we're vibrating that high. Some of the more
Right. They don't
positive
match our
things,
frequency.
right. Some of the more positive things are definitely going to do that, but we're not going to find everything there that we want to find or to help cross whatever it might be, but we're not going to feel that because we are so
At least
high.
that's what we think anyway.
We
Like
think,
other people can go have these massive, and I've seen other investigators who have horrifyingly frightening experiences.
yeah,
That never
but you
happened.
no, but you just wonder again because you and I had this conversation if that is because of our vibration, because we are tapped in all the time, because you have your door, your revolving door basically of spirit coming through your house, of people needing crossed. Um, And, I mean, I have orbs popping into videos that I'm doing, and we're like, oh, look. Oh, no, gone. Okay. Yeah. So
It could be. So that's what we're going to
a
try.
little fear factor. We'll see if we told Natalie came up with a good idea. She doesn't watch horror movies at all. Um, and so we are actually going to participate in a horror movie or something like that, even though I don't think we need it with the Hotel Congress. If you read the history on it, it's kind of horrifying in some places anyway. The suicide in one of the rooms, within the last
The
30
lady that
years.
stands over the bed, the
Yeah, yeah, the
faceless
stuff in the
healer.
hallway, the one room. Yeah, I mean, like there's four legitimate rooms there that each have their own weird thing going on, and we're in two of them.
Yeah, we're
So,
staying in separate rooms.
yeah, we have two
That ought to be
rooms.
interesting.
I know. My partner's going to be like, "All right, who do I have to go? You got to go in here."
Right?
Nope, now
You
you're
need
in
to
here
come
with
sleep
me.
on my couch because I
Right.
can't do this.
Right. We're all going to be cuddled in one room overnight, just leaving
With a video
cameras in the
camera in
other
the other.
one. Yep. Going, nope, leave it there. Let's go sleep in here. But
Right?
that'll be cool because that would mean that we're feeling it, right? And so either way, it'll be an adventure. There is no doubt about that. And I don't think he knows what he's getting himself in for, but off we go. Um,
Yeah, he may never sign up for that kind of stuff.
Right. But like with Steven, his energy, like the dowsing rods, or, we go
Mhm.
from the dowsing, which he's calm because he's focused in doing that. Whereas if you're videoing, it's poop, 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 all over the place because he does feel so much. He is so in tune
Well, and
with,
he sees things. He is his
he's a
abilities
seer.
are really like when things walk in the room, he immediately knows it.
Mm.
It's And I mean, I often feel it, but I have to be like tapped in and focused. And
Right. Whereas he knows they're there and he's like, oh
he's
no.
just like, okay.
Yeah.
So he literally was taking a test once and texted me and said, Mom, I need to send a couple of dead people your way because I'm taking a test. I've got no time. I was, I bless your heart.
Right.
Okay.
Well, okay. How'd you do that? Yeah, no, he's just very, very, very open and it's amazing. We just need to help with the training a little more on how he uses that so that he doesn't scatter so easy
Right.
because it's so much, right? Sensory overload. And yeah.
And I got all of the male protection stuff for because I always have stuff I wear. So I
Uh-huh.
got all that special stuff for Queen Mary. It didn't help.
No.
No.
Oh boy.
Like it didn't keep him calm. But it'll be great when we go back to Queen Mary. It
It
will.
will. And it'll be bigger group, right? So that should
Yeah.
help, I think, too, and we do have two rooms again. So we have next time on Queen
Three.
Mary. Oh, we have three. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Next time on Queen Mary, we are in what is that one that's the most haunted?
E340.
B340. So we have that one. We have one of the suites that the first class passengers would use um, for kind of a little different perspective. It's supposed to be close to that one, but if we're gonna make a little excursion out of this, so we're gonna get a suite. And then what's the other room's just another room?
I think this time, because Steven and I did a suite, and I think this time I just got a double for the other room.
Oh,
It's a family suite, but the double beds are together because I don't think that the people going to be in that room want to be by themselves. Because the
yeah,
suite actually is two bedrooms.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
thought that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah, we do actually have a couple family members going that are along for the ride and want to go to Queen Mary and they know what we're doing, but
They don't
my guess
appreciate spirit.
my guess is they'll be shopping and finding other things to do. So we'll be in
Having
that room
dinner.
poking around, right? Then clearing it before they get back. So
Well,
yeah.
and to highlight when Steven and I were preparing for the Queen Mary, I knew it was going to be an adventure because stuff started getting thrown at me at my house,
Oh yeah. Oh
which
my
was
gosh, that was
I
crazy.
was
It was like three or
actually
four days beforehand. You were having the candle flew across. Where was that candle sitting that was lit, or was that the incense?
it no, it sits okay, so it's I have three candles that sit on my desk. Well, I change them out, but they're sitting right here. So it's just to the left of my computer here. One of the candles slid across the desk. I'm sitting at my desk when it happens, slid across the desk, knocked incense out of an incense holder, and the incense was lit.
Onto the
So
floor.
not only did something slide without anybody touching it, it hit something that was burning, and then the incense flew off the desk,
That's
and I
right.
couldn't find it. Like
Yeah,
so much so, I ran into Steven's room and I was like, "You've got to help me find this. I'm going to start a fire."
yeah,
We came in and it had flown in behind something that was leaning against the wall about 3 feet away. No way could that happen normally.
naturally. Mm-mm.
And then the laundry detergent, I was starting a load of laundry and it was sitting on my dryer, which they're pretty large surface tops,
Right.
slid across the dryer and threw itself into the washer.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't know that one.
Mhm.
Woo.
Yeah, and then the hangers started moving in the laundry room. Um, there was one other thing. I don't know, but things and
Oh, I
really,
know. We were
what
doing
was it?
some research. This wasn't for you, but we were doing some research ahead of time and just kind of brushing up on what other investigators have done. And so we're watching the Sam and Colby, and I'm going out to find the Ghost Adventures because I knew they'd been there a long time ago.
Mhm.
And Kindred Spirits had been there a long time ago. So I'm able to find most. The Ghost Adventures one, I get chills even now, was gone. So you could go look up the season and there's episode 12, there's episode 14, 13's gone.
That's so weird.
Right? And we looked on multiple media platforms where you can watch Ghost Adventures and it's not there. Probably can go find it now. I haven't tried again since then just to go see if but it was so bizarre. Just all these weird things happening around Queen Mary right beforehand.
Yeah, it was. It was
It'll
real.
be
And so
really cool to
I
see what
had
happens in
really
February. Yeah.
like I had high expectations of like seeing poltergeist activity
Right. You're
because
like, well,
this
hell, this
weird
is what's
stuff.
going on at home. Then
Right.
I should be able to see the furniture move when I get there, you know?
Right. And then I get there and I'm like, hmm,
Yeah. You're like,
this
the
is
bed's not shaking, nothing's flying off the wall. You did get the cool images though. The one in the mirror
yeah, yeah.
and then that face in the light. That was really cool. Um, and then just some of the feelings and things you got. I still think that pool's got something there too from your images from the pool, but I just don't see it.
You know, and only tourists can go in there. And I really didn't feel anything. I mean, it feels ominous in there, but we were there during dark harbor. So
Oh,
the ship is lit a little bit differently. And then they
right.
have this, like fake water light that happens.
Which
I
gives it kind
did
of that creepy pool, dark feeling. Yeah.
right. And you're down underneath and you know
Right.
you've walked downstairs. And I mean,
Right.
I know how to get there, but it's all locked up when there's not a tour. Um, but like when you walk in, you can feel people like maybe just outside of that wall,
Hmm.
but they're not coming in and engaging. It's a very, yeah, I don't know.
I
You
wonder
can
if it's
see the
because
pool
it
from up
was,
top.
I wonder if it's because it was so exclusive, it was first class only, and that the ones you're feeling outside were the ones denied access.
I don't know. I don't know because first class and second class pools are nowhere near each other.
Not interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, and you can get access to the first class pool as a viewable,
Right.
but
But
it's
you
like
can't go
you can
into
walk
it.
up and view. Yeah. So the one that we went we actually walked into it. But again, it was they didn't let us anywhere on the pool deck. It was like
Right.
a little area where we could
Like a
stand.
little patio or a balcony or something
Yeah,
that you could look
a
over.
balcony
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
And then
gonna
the
be
second
interesting.
class pool has actually been completely removed.
Wow.
And um they have it roped off, but it's a totally different area now. Like it's right above the engine room, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I just say something too that I'm just kind of confirming that spirit, that we've got ghost here. So now that we've started really getting into conversations about Queen Mary, the static is gone.
Oh,
Just saying.
thanks, guys. I love them too.
Yes. Yes. The static is gone finally. I'm like, oh, that's nice. There we go. That's much better. Yay.
Although you guys need to go home.
Right.
I
Can't
love
see.
you, but go home.
Yep. We'll see you in February. Talk to you in
Or cross all the way over and
or
be at
and
peace.
exactly. And if we can't clear you now, we'll clear you then. And yeah, and which we should talk about a little bit before we wrap up today is some of the tools we take. Because we do between us take it's now it is not Discovery Channel where we have bags and bags of stuff. We don't have number one, we
No.
don't have that kind of income. Number two, this was our personal thing, and it still is. We're sharing it, but it's personal for us, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's about how we're helping. It's what we're seeing, and it's like Natalie said, it's not the validation. It's just acknowledging that, yep, we saw it, we heard it, we got it, and then helping. We hope for those that want to move on and cross. But some of the tools we take, so we have a lot of cameras that have IR on them and night
That's
vision
infrared vision,
in
by the way.
infrared.
Infrared
Yes,
lighting. Yeah.
thank you. And the night vision, so that you've got all that different imagery there. We do have a lot of different microphones. We all have our own individual handheld camera so that when we're doing conversations with each other, which is something that we'll do better this time because we haven't done historically, we've just set up cameras around and then you don't end up hearing our conversation very well because again, it wasn't about anybody else. So now that we're like trying to think about how do we communicate and have everybody be part of this experience, we'll have those handheld cameras sitting with us in play so that one person can video when we're doing like an Estes method, or we've got cameras with us to show the EVPs and the lights going off and everything right away versus reviewing the footage and calling it out later. Um, Dowsing rods. I love dowsing rods. They're amazing. If you haven't used those, also called
Water witchers.
water witches. Thank you. Water witch. So lots of
And still used in like construction with construction folks today.
absolutely and on farms because they will absolutely go right into ground where the energy is.
Yep.
to spread the bars. So if you haven't used those, they are an amazing, easy tool to tap
Hmm.
in. You just hold still. You got to hold still and you answer your questions. And it's very much like a pendulum, which will take pendulums because sometimes you just aren't getting anything. It's like, okay, did you see that? Was there something right there? I just felt something right there. So anyway, but you'll get like a yes, no, maybe, right? And maybe kind of help you out with that. Of course, we always have our cards, but those don't normally come out during the reading time. And then
No,
I take a lot of different crystals with me. I'm a crystal girl, and Natalie, I know takes a lot of hers as well. But generally for the room, especially around bedtime and things like that, there will be shungite or black obsidian or a combo of both in every corner for protection and
tiger's eye.
tiger's eye.
Yep.
Yep, yep. Oh, I wear a tiger's eye. I have one on my ankle that is always on just for my own protection. And so, um, but yeah, the shungite's a big one for me for setting those barriers, right? So that we're like, okay, not now. It's bedtime, or like for the room of our guests that are not participating, we'll go in and do that. We also, a lot of hotels and stuff, you don't want to burn anything. You want to be respectful of the environment, so we won't take the incense and sage to burn them in there. If they're in an area where we can, of course, we have those like Palo Santo, we have sage, um, to cleanse and to help things cross. I'm sure I
Yep.
missed a ton of things. Oh, the EVPs, the REM pods, what else?
The K2s, the
K2s.
tripwires.
Yeah, the tripwires and the little magic balls that are so fun. Those light up when something
I
moves.
got
They're
9 more
great.
of those because
Yay!
the Biltmore ate 2 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Like 2 just disappeared, and I was like, fine, I wanted more anyway. And they're
Sure.
the ones I got now are easier to turn on. So we're gonna have lots of those, which is good because we have
Yeah,
multiple rooms on all of our next investigations.
exactly. And they're great because you can just be sitting still and be like, okay, that little light went
And
off. So it's,
flashlights.
oh, and the flashlights. The
Oh,
flashlights have been
they're
great for
amazing to
us.
work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Little flashlights, guys. Little tiny just flashlights, and you just turn it on or leave it off and let them play with it. Let them turn
Yeah.
it on and off, right? It's just you've barely got it so that it's just below off, basically, and they can tap it so that they can turn it on and off. And we had
Yeah,
it
it's
at the one
twisted.
in Cripple Creek, we had a full-on conversation. I mean, the light was just cruising back and forth for a little bit and was going, all right, we're sitting here. Cool. Yeah. So,
Right. It gives you the no doubt experiences until
yes.
2 days later when you're like, did that? I mean, like, could it have just wiggled? So
Right?
you're
Did
coming
the
you come up
wind
with all the
blow? Did we have a
excuses,
window
but
open? Yeah.
right, it's still
And
there. And it works out. Like when you watch the conversation replay with the tools, it's
yeah.
amazing the things that you're actually learning about people who are on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what they want to interact with to get your attention and to call things out, which is fantastic. So, yeah.
Speaking of cameras, I think I'm going to have to pick up a couple more because I think the Lumber Baron may have actually taken out the audio of one of the mini DVs.
Really?
Mhm. Like I can't get it to pick up audio now either.
One of the handheld camera or the tripod? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
the tripod still seems to be working okay, but the one that we had problems with at Lumber Baron, I don't think it's going to recover.
Wow. Huh.
And luckily, Immersive Spirit doesn't have an endless amount of money, so we don't spend a ton of money on our handhelds because we need them to be small and
And
movable.
compact and movable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
under a
I'll
hundred
just
bucks, but yeah, it's the
it's
point.
like 30 or 40 bucks a piece. So I'm gonna have to pick up a couple more though. Just by the way, I'm gonna spend some more money.
Yay.
Moving on from that conversation.
Right. Um, I think we really covered a lot of it because we really just wanted to get everybody up to speed on what we'd found and had seen here lately and where we're headed, which we've got, the Hotel Congress, I think is going to be pretty intense. I really do. Um, just feeling that already that
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
probably the orb that's there.
could be. It could very well be coming to have a quick conversation before I'll have to tap in and spend a little more time with it and see what that's about, or we can do that when we wrap this up.
Well, yeah, nothing's flying around my house yet. So
Yay!
yeah, but it's probably gonna be so different than the Queen's energy. The Queen is amazing place. For people who just want to go, that's an amazing place for history. Like it is
Oh,
just beautiful and
the Queen
fantastic.
Mary is just I mean, I remember we went there when in the early 80s as a
Hmm.
family trip, and it was we didn't go on. I don't recall that we went on, but we went to drive over and see it, and it was like, wow, it's
It's
just
so massive.
it's impressive. It's just your yeah. So
It's
I'm
two Titanics.
wow. Is it that big?
By square foot. So what goes down is also included.
Okay, but
So
still
yeah,
huge.
it's just freaking amazing. You guys will learn all of that on your first tour. I won't ruin it for you.
Okay. Yeah, there is so much history too with the Queen
Mhm.
Mary. I mean, it wasn't just a passenger ship. It was involved with part of the war. It was a transport. It was a lot of those things. So there is a lot there that is beyond just, the passengers or like people that sunk on the Titanic and what you expect from Spirit. It's different. And so, yeah, it'll be fascinating.
Oh, I was thinking about that. I don't want to release too much because we want to do it on our. I think we should hold any kind of things we release about the Queen Mary until we're done in February.
Ooh, good point. Because in case
Because
we
I'm going to be giving a ton of history because I learned so much. Like I can talk about that ship like
all day.
all
Yeah.
day long.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say too much because I want to validate some things and have you validate things that I felt, and
Okay.
we might want to hold on that.
Okay. Well, we can
Not
always,
that people are expecting it anyway.
but the nice thing is we can always put a few things out for folks and then, the things that were obvious, like that, Stephen, you can stay or Stephen,
Go ahead and say,
go ahead and stay. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's like plain as day and crazy. Yeah, we'll just have to kind of go through those clips and take a look because it'll be fun to go again as a group and then to split up that group, right? We'll let Steven go with my buddy, with my Shane. And yeah, they can partner up and then you and I'll take off someplace else because we have a different kind of energy when we're together, there's no doubt. So
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. We'll just release some little things, but no story, no
yeah,
film.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
wait. So everybody hold off on that, but we'll watch for that coming in March after we put it all together, right before we blaze to Sedona for a much needed
So some quick tips and tricks if
yeah,
you want to get into paranormal investigation. So protection is a big thing.
always.
Respect for the land, the building, and the people who it houses is absolutely necessary. And wanting the best outcome for everybody involved, whether that's living and the deceased. So,
Yes, yes. And respect for the history. When you're
mhm.
investigating a lot of those paranormal places, we know that there is a lot of our indigenous history there as well. And it's recognizing what came before and how that plays into where you are and honoring that too.
Yeah,
So it's really spending time when you are doing, as Natalie and I ground and go through this, it's honoring the earth, it's honoring air, water, fire, spirit. It's going and setting that intention of only there to help. And if you're going at this with that negative, um, hexing type of attitude, please leave us out of it. We don't want anything to
right.
do with that because that is just bad. That's bad juju all the way around. It's not good for you. It's not good for spirit. It's not good for anybody else. We hope that like we try to do that people are being there to be helpful. So I agree. That's a really big tip. And the other big tip is I think really paying attention. I mean, for me, the last few days have been a reminder over and over again about observation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a long time to observe a small shift. And so you have to, patience is not a name that Natalie and I will ever be associated with. But when we're in those moments, you have to be. You have to sit and be still and again, honor the space that you're in, honor those who are there with you and observe. And it's not just your eyes, right? But what do you see in the peripheral? Don't move. Let it take form and let it try and tell you what it wants to tell you. Feel it, hear it, sense it, smell it, all those different things. What is it all speaking to you? Because there's a different message in how they're telling that and why it's coming through that way to you.
Yep, that's a great point and a good way to end it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I'll let you wrap it up today since I went on with like a 5 minute tirade at the beginning.
So I'm just going to wrap it up with thanks for joining us for this episode of High Heels to Happy Feels, and we'll see you again next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.